It's Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell, and in theaters, April 28th is the movie Big George Foreman. It's the miraculous story of the once and future heavyweight champion of the world. Here with us today is Khris Davis. You've seen him in the big screen movies like Detroit, Judas and the Black Messiah, Space Jam: A New Legacy. He's also a recurring role on FX award-winning show Atlanta. That Is My Show. You can see him next starring as George Foreman. Good morning, Khris. How are you?
Good morning, brother.
Khris, I want to skip all the rigmarole and just say I sat next to your parents while you were shooting in New Orleans. They brought a whole bunch of people in, and it was when you had gained weight to be George Foreman the latter years. It was the first time your mom and your dad had seen you in a minute because you had been gone, dog. And the first thing you did was introduce them to Forrest Whitaker, and they were so proud of you. But I was sitting next to them, so they could not get over the weight you gained, dog. Talk about gaining that weight, because I was with the directors and some other people, and they said that you just ate hamburgers and pizza.
No.
Okay.
I did not eat hamburgers and pizza. I don't know who said that. But I'm a pescatarian, so I did it all on a pescatarian diet. I didn't do any dairy. I didn't do any sugar. I wanted to do it clean because I wanted to lose the weight afterwards because, they're asking me to gain a lot of weight rather quickly.
Right.
So I ended up, I had a nutritionist who gave me a plan, but, I was never going to make weight. So I just ended up eating about 7,000 calories a day.
Jeez.
And
which equates to what, dog?
Which equates
a human being supposed to have, a man supposed to have 2,000, right? 2,300?
Yeah. So what I'll say is I looked it up. So Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, right? The big guy bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Would eat about 5 or 5,300 when they were bulking.
Got it.
And 3,000 or so when they were cutting.
Got it.
So then you add 2,000 more on top of what they were eating. These big bodybuilders.
Yeah, proper ones with no body fat.
Right, no body. You know what I mean? So you add 2,000 more on top of that. And it was funny is sometimes I say that to people, and they're like, "Oh, 7,000. That's it." I'm like, you're not thinking about what I'm saying.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Break it down.
7,000 calories.
Yes.
So if I did eat burgers and pizza, it would be like the equivalent of eating 2 large pies for lunch, 2 large pies for dinner. And for breakfast, you would have, let's say, 4 massive pieces of meat stacked between 2 buns and a pile of fries, right?
Right.
With a whole bunch of sauce on it. You know what I mean? And you just drank the biggest soda you could find, right? And you're still not making 7,000. So that means between that burger and fries in the morning, you're eating like 2 tubs of ice cream before you hit lunch. And then you eat lunch, right? Which are the 2 pies. And then you eat 2 more tubs of ice cream.
I want y'all to hear how much is it. Even the 1,000-pound sisters don't eat that much. And I want them to eat for 4 seasons.
I basically was essentially eating from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. nonstop.
That is incredible and it's crazy at the same time.
Yeah.
I know George Foreman's story, but a lot of people might not know it, man. How intriguing is this story? And then to be able to be picked to be the guy.
I think it's incredibly intriguing because for me, I knew that he was a fighter, but the extent of his fight history only went to he lost to Ali.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was the grill guy, right? So it was intriguing to me to learn how deep, how in depth his journey was, even just getting to the Olympics and then becoming heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And then into religion, a death experience, and then winning the title again. I read his autobiographies, and what we did in the film barely even scratches the tip of the surface of what his story actually was. So for anybody who's going to come see this film, I think it's going to be really eye-opening. I think it's going to be eye-opening for people who thought they knew him in the 70s, who thought they knew him in the 90s, right? And I think that it's going to open up Mr. Foreman's legacy, as I said before, to a new generation of people who don't really know him at all.
Right. you had the opportunity to work side by side very closely with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
When I was there, I was going Forrest Whitaker crazy, a proper thespian dog.
Yeah.
Like, what was he telling you? I watched him you introduced him to your parents, and your parents was like, he's the guy. Like, your son is what was that like?
I mean, another icon, right? So to be standing across from Mr. Whitaker, and for me, I take acting very seriously. I watched a lot of films, and Mr. Whitaker has been somebody who's been in my consciousness my entire life. So standing across from him, I didn't feel any fear. I just felt like I wanted to be able to support him as a scene partner. I wanted him to feel like he was supported with me. I didn't want to let him down, but instantly watching him work, watching him talk to me was like being in a master class. I was learning instantly, Yeah. No words can describe what I learned from Forrest Whitaker on that job. It changed actually the course of the way that I was going to go about the job. In fact, watching Mr. Whitaker do his thing without saying a word to me about it taught me how to move with grace during the job, kind of gentler into some of the moments, how to preserve my energy and use it when needed, so that was, without him saying anything to me, I learned a lesson just by watching him.
Let's talk about the fight scenes. I had a chance to hang out with the choreographer, the fight.
Daryl Foster.
Yes, sir. And he was telling me how everything was counted. Everything was counted. Everything was counted. Was that easy for you? I know you're from Jersey. Was the boxing easy? Was it harder? I know you had to really learn pugilism. Yeah,
I mean, so we used the number system. And I think, from what I understand, most fighters do use a number system anyway when they're in the gym. It just varies from southpaw to who your coach would be, to orthodox, things like that. But it was incredibly difficult. I mean, I've fought before, but I've never gloved up before.
Of course. Everybody fought. I was a 7th grader, and one time, dude, I would bust him in the jaw. Right.
I actually was well into my 20s when I stopped.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation. But I never gloved up before. And, and that's the thing. I went into it thinking that, I could throw some blows here. I could take some hits, whatever. But putting on the gloves, and Daryl, he was like, we're not going to treat this like we're training for a film. We're going to treat it as though you're training to fight for the heavyweight belt.
That's what he said.
So we trained as if it was a fight camp. So it was very intense. You're talking 5-6 hours a day. We'd be in the gym at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., going at it, getting it in. Other guys would come in. Each of the different fighters would come in, and I would work with them week to week. And sometimes it would be 5 guys in there at a time, and we're just rolling, doing all the fights together. There would be some sparring that would be happening, hitting the speed bags and the heavy bags. It was the most intense working out I've ever done, but it authenticated. We wanted to authenticate what Mr. Foreman was going through, what he was experiencing in the ring, so we actually ended up doing real contact in the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of us are taking strikes to the face. We're taking strikes to the face. You know what I mean? We ain't pulling our hands left or right. No, sir. You know what I mean? And we're not trying to blast each other into, next season. But, there's only so much when you're trying to authenticate an actual punch, right? The indication of a punch and the indication of impact. If you pull the punch, it actually looks like you can't punch on screen.
How about that?
So you have to throw some sort of punch.
Right.
Whether or not it comes from your hips or just your shoulder, you got to throw it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good.
I love it. But and I'm gonna end with this, man. This whole movie is about faith.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your faith and what you learned from George's.
Well, as you know, my parents are pastors.
Yes, they are.
And I grew up in the Kojic Church my entire life.
Woo, so did Erica. I already know.
You know what I mean?
Nothing funny with them. They won't even invite me to the conference, dog.
I say this all the time. I say people like Kojic, I don't know what that is. So I describe it like this because people think that the Southern Baptist is the meanest, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them the Kojic Church is the meaner twin to the Baptist Church.
Oh, man.
Blows their mind. I'm like, yeah, that's the meaner twin to the Baptist Church. I remember growing up being like, they're allowed to say that? They can do that?
Right.
They can wear pants to church?
Right.
Or shorts. I wasn't allowed to wear shorts to church.
Oh, man.
We had to wear pants to church. The boys had to wear pants to church.
Absolutely.
Sure. So it was like that. So when I saw the script and wanted to do the film, the faith aspect was something exciting for me to bring to it. I'd never gotten the opportunity to bring that part of my life to the work that I was going to do. And it surprised me that Mr. Foreman also had that. So I felt an immediate connection to that and a bit of a responsibility to that. I mean, really most of his journey, I feel like I understood on a cellular level.
Yes.
And I felt like it was a story that I really needed to tell. And if I had the opportunity, then I would hopefully be able to do it justice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the movie is out on April 28th. We're talking to the star, Khris Davis, Big George Foreman. How can people follow you on social media?
Just Khris Davis. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. My first name is Khris, last name Davis.
Proud of you, man. Excited for you, too.
Thank you.
It's all up from here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.